Welcome back, guys. This is G for Ganesh Studio Productions. People also call me Ganesh Singaram, but let's just cut all that out and just go straight with G. But this is the second part of the track that we've been working on. I'm just going to pick it up straight from pretty much where we left off, just working with the kick drums, just with the EQs. As I said, I'm not going to go too much into compression and sub-bass frequencies for a kick, which I will get into later. But I want to make this song sound pounding, just using some techniques that I'm showing you. So this is a track by Strangers Lost Paradise. As I said, a person reached out to me, go, look, like what you do, if you want to do a tutorial, how about use one of my tracks to showcase it, and I'll do a mix. So if you guys want to get into that sort of situation, make sure you do the like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? The person with the track, put your SoundCloud link on. But the person with the track that has the most likes, I'll do a mix on. And I'd rather do tracks that are more relatable to the producers, to the DJs, to the home engineers, to professional artists who pay ridiculous amounts to get a song done. So I just want to teach you the techniques. But anyway, so today, part 2, I'm going to go into the snare, and I'm just going to pick it up straight from where I left off. But the next thing I want to work on is the snare. I'm going to show you some EQ examples, show you some compression examples. Let's have a listen. So far we've got the kick drum introduced. Now let's go with the snare. So you heard the snare, right? So what I want to give you now is some really useful techniques for EQing a snare to get particular sounds. So if you have a snare that you really want more low-end presence to, where it really like, boom, hits you, you're almost looking at frequencies, depending on the snare sample that you're using or snare sound. You're almost looking at about, sometimes 80 hertz, depending on how low you want to go. But you can also do about 100 hertz, which is really good. You can do 150, you can do 180. That's a very particular type of thickness that you're going for. So if we went to that speaker example, you're sort of hitting here. That next bit that you want to hit, you're almost looking at 180, 200 hertz. These are all the thickness factors. I mean, you can almost go into 400 hertz as well, which is a good thing to try. But if your snare sounds really boxy and really like woody sounding, cut 300 hertz, cut 500 hertz, and those are the air frequencies that you will suck out to make your snare sounding better. So as I said, you got your thickness frequencies, you got your air frequencies. Then you need to go into, how do I get my snare cracking through and snapping through? So we've got a snap and a crack. It's not snap, crackle, and pop. But anyway, so there's a couple of frequencies that you need to work with. If you're going for a snare that you really want to like fucking feel, boom, 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 that really like penetrates you, try shelving it with an API EQ, which I'll show you exactly what I'll do, at 2.5K, boom, shelve it. And it does it in such an amazing way. You'll love it. If you want to get more high-end sizzle and crack out of that, then boost it at 10K. You notice these frequencies as I do them. All right, so first of all, let me add some thickness to this bad boy. All right, so with that, let me add the 500 hertz in. Mind your ears. I'm going to go nuts with it. Have a listen, because I really want you to figure out this frequency in your ears. So that sound is like almost like you're clapping, but you're clapping like this, where there's air coming through, as opposed to. Okay. But if you get what I mean, when you hear a snare that has a little bit too much air in it, you want to suck that out. So that's that frequency that you want to pull out of it. And it's usually 9 times out of 10, I'll tell you now, it's usually between 300 hertz to 400 hertz. Get rid of that shit. But what if you have a clap that sounds a little bit like, but you want it to sound like, okay, if you haven't figured out, this is how I do stuff anyway. But if you want to add that air frequency in, then boost the 500 hertz to 300 hertz, whatever it is, on the snare or clap to give you that, as opposed to two different sounds. This is what about the ear training exercise that I tried to do before. If you haven't paid attention or watched the video, please, these examples will fly so quickly through you if you really train yourself. Here we go. I'm gonna add a bit more thickness to it. Let's go here. All right. Here's an API EQ by Waves, 550B, amazing EQ. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to add that extra wow factor in. So 2.5K here as a shelf, not a peak. Shelf, not a peak. Boom. I'm gonna go from here to here. And I just want you to focus in on that top end reach of that snare. You guys ready? Here we go. Okay, boring stuff, but the human ear is very acceptable and more noticeable towards a certain particular type of frequencies because the way it bounces in your eardrum down to your sort of system where you can understand it. So those frequencies are usually between 2 to 5K. So if you play on particular types of frequencies that will make people hear it more, just because it's being triggered by that frequency range that travels in, you got them. Boom. So let's get sidetracked. 10K, have a listen to this. Listen to the top end. That's all I want you to focus on. Let's put it back in with the kick drum and let's see what goes on. Let's go a little bit more crazy. Let's go 6 to 9. So I'm going to go without. All right, cool. Sounds good. Let's put that back in with the track and see what goes on. Too much of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus these hand pots just center. So my focus level of my snare is now centered. It's not spreading over the stereo image. I'm just going straight down. And you notice it get louder. If you're noticing the shit red line, yeah, cool. I will cover it later, but you notice that it goes down by, like peaking over minus 3.9. So all you can do is just boom, down. Waves is awesome like that. As I did with the kick drum, I'm going to show you a snare example. So I'm going to duplicate it twice, so I've got 2 tracks to play with. And mute and mute. So I'm going to this solo. This track, let's do a bit of solo. So here, this is the new track I've created. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to add a little bit of Sound Toys. Guys, mind your ears, please. Because this shit is so crazy and so cool. I love it. Ready? Here we go. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through some presets. Mind your ears, as I said. And notice I'm listening to it in the track. Okay, so what I'm going to do, it's a simple example. Also can fine tune it, but I'm going to leave this 70s record sound on this. But watch. Watch me do my shit. I'm going to cut this and mute it. Damn it. It was too late. And then I'm going to add to it here. The other way. Sorry. My bad. So suddenly what you're seeing is you're going to hear the original snare, and then you can hear a boom. Then you hear original snare and a boom. Same thing up. Original snare and boom. Original snare and boom. Here we go. I'm going to add some extra feel to this drum track. So let me play the original snare. This is the decapitator. I'm going to get extreme with this so you can hear it. Let's get a bit more nasty with it. If you guys don't know, Sound Toys is freaking amazing. These are different tonal aspects that you can use. Just have a listen to the groove, just the way you shake your head. You hear this, and then you hear a snare, and then this will just accent it a little bit more. Hopefully you can hear this stuff. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of creative sort of mixing just to give it a little bit more feel, a little bit more oomph, oomph. Let's check it out. Let's hope it works. So what I'm going to do is actually get rid of this track, and I'm going to duplicate the decapitated track. So I'm just copying over all the audio files, all that blah, blah, blah. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to mute that. So you hear the original snare, you hear the snare with the decapitator, original snare. Then you hear all of them together. Does that make sense? Original snare, decapitator, original snare, everything. Original snare, everything. Original snare, decapitator, original snare, everything. Original snare, decapitator, original snare, everything. Oh, say a new one. This one. Original snare, decapitator, original snare, everything. The idea with this is let's have a little bit of fun with it. Let's see what we're going to do with the snare to give it a bit more interest, a bit more sort of something to move the track along, to give it a little bit more feel. So this is the idea, this is the concept, this is what we would go for. Let's see how we go about it. Let's have a listen to how the snare plays out. Let's make this waveform big so you can see what's going on. Okay, so hopefully you can hear that example and see visually like what's going on. So this is me mixing, but also adding a little bit of production, but you know, not taking away. I'm just trying to add to the song. Sometimes I might be right, sometimes I might be way, way off. So what I'm doing is I've got my kicks, my snares, and now on this special hit here and here, I'm gonna add like a little bit of a delay. So I got my tempo at 92, let's go. Presets, guys, amazing. Let's make life a little bit easy and go from here to here. You know what? Screw it. Let's add the bass and see what we get. Oh, memory man is actually. Okay, for example, like I just go through presets and I figure out what sort of inspires you to sort of go into the mix. So for this, I go, oh, I can hear it. I want like a delay, but maybe I could like make it work a little bit differently in the delay. So once you get a ballpark figure of where you want to go with a preset, screw it, man. Just go into it and see what you want to get into. So for example, I can now mix with my parameters once I get inspired. Just lock it in. I might cut the low end out. I might add a reverb to verb. So I'm not sponsored by Waves. Let's go Gates. Actually, let's go. So what I've got is I've got this track feeding into an echo, which is now feeding into a reverb. So this is the creative mixing side of it. So now this delay will trigger into the reverb, which will play out differently compared to me just sending a natural sound of the snare into a reverb. Works totally differently. This is how you create your depth of field. This is how you work with your sort of little interesting facts that will just grab people to follow you. And I'll just add something else after this. I'm gonna do it. Sound Toys Filter Freak. Thank you very much. Let's pull this bad boy here. This bad boy here. So you got the settings and whatnot. Notice I'm going presets and I'll tweak whatever I need to. Bust the speaker. Watch the movement this bad boy adds. Without it, I'm just going to loop the track. Guys, all I'm doing here is just taking things out and adding them in. But on those tracks, I've got different filters and effects and whatnot. You can suddenly start playing with how your track moves and feels by the way you add certain things, the way you take out certain things, the effects you add, the EQ you add. You know, you're suddenly making a track which has gone from a 16 bar loop to something that's repetitive, to something that's, wow, now it's starting to move. Now I'm starting to feel it. And I'm just using quick examples, really. You know, I could use automation, I could use track, like duplicating tracks and doing all that sort of cool stuff as well. So far, I haven't even touched on the compression again. Apologies, but it will come soon. But with those examples, with just a kick drum and a snare, you know, this is something that is relatable to everyone, just to make stuff a little bit more exciting, bit of creative mixing, bit of EQing, bit of this, bit of that, you know, whatever. But hopefully you guys can keep liking and doing you, and hopefully I can give you some tools to sort of let you inspire the world. But anyway, so this is part 2 of this project that I'm going to be showing you. Next, I will be showing you bass, which will be part 3 of it. It is late for me, so hopefully I can show you something very soon, but I'll be doing stuff every week. If you like it, you know what to do. If you don't, still here next week. All right, guys. Peace. G out. Hopefully you got something out of this. Peace.